its aspiration to continue coordination and joint cooperation in political, economic and developmental fields in a way that serves the interests of both nations. Abdelati extended an invitation to his Guinean counterpart to participate in the 5th edition of Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development, scheduled to be held next October in Aswan. Abdelati also convened with Egyptian staff at the UIN in New York. Abdelati praised the distinguished role played by Egyptian professionals across various UN bodies, stressing that their tangible contribution reflect the capabilities of Egyptian human resources. He urged Egyptians working at the UN to continue abiding to the highest standards of professionalism worthy of Egypt's name and its international position. Moreover, Abdelati held a meeting with members of Permanent Mission and Consulate General in New York as part of his keenness to maintain direct and continuous communication with Egyptian missions abroad. He hailed the role of the Permanent Mission in serving the Egyptian community and promoting Egypt's interests in UN and international forums.
Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Dr. Sara Kiira, International Relations Expert. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Well,
thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Dr. Kiira, how did you follow the sidelines meeting by the Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati? Of course, the sideline meetings in any conference is very important because it's a one-to-one talking, especially this is the 80th meeting of the United Nations General Assembly discussion or meeting. As His Excellency, the Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati met with several officials. Among them is, of course, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. How did you follow his meeting with the UN Secretary General?
This is not the first meeting. First of all, Egypt's effort comes in line with everything we've been doing since October or since the 7th of October and aggression, the Israeli aggression on the whole sector of Gaza Strip. So it comes in line with all the efforts for rallying the international society to stop or try to stop Israel, and comes within the efforts of establishing sustainable peace for the cause of Gaza or for the cause of Palestine.
Yes, of course. Also, Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati delivered a speech, very important, actually one before the 80th meeting of the UN General Assembly. How did you follow it, as the Foreign Minister said or stressed the need in order to continue intensifying efforts to reach a ceasefire agreement in Gaza Strip and ensure the entrance of humanitarian aid and medicine to the suffering Palestinians?
As we've been following, Egypt has been pushing back all the aggression, all the stopping, all the closing of the Rafah crossing border and not letting the humanitarian aid in. We have, speaking of the UN Secretary General, we have invited him here to the field itself to see what's happening in the Rafah crossing border or on the Rafah crossing border. And it also comes in line with the use of veto power, of the U.S. veto power in UN Security Council. We have been trying to revolve around that as the U.S. has been backing Israel in its aggression on the Gaza Strip, non-stop aggression with this number of casualties. So we've been using diplomacy, rallying, mobilization, Arab coordination to pressure and to end this misery. This is true diplomacy and the true use of the UN power. Especially there has been talks, even by the US, that the UN is not doing its role now. It seems like the whole world, the whole international society and Egypt, in contrast to Israel and its aggression and against civilians especially. So this is the right use of power. This is the right use of international power. Being a major power is standing next to, in solidarity with civilians, standing to legitimacy of international law. We have been pushing back again as the use of the UN veto of the U.S. veto power in UN Security Council. But we haven't given up on reaching a ceasefire solution, even though the U.S. has severally used their veto power in UN Security Council to force Israel to stop their aggression against civilians. And reaching this, nobody is happy with that. The UN Security Council himself feels very frustrated, and it's been obvious in a lot of speeches, and it's been transparent that they cannot use their power against Israel because of the U.S. veto vote in the UN Security Council. But this did not stop Egypt from using its rallying and its mobilization to international society in the UN. Either it's one-to-one meetings or during speeches. We have brought this cause into the light, and we've shed a lot of light on the bloodshed being done and held by Israel in the Gaza Strip.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Sara Kiira, the international relations expert. We really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. Thank you very much.
The Palestinian Health Ministry said on Sunday that the